The Texas Rangers and their fans are having a bad time. After 7 straight losses, the team is sitting 5 games out of the last wildcard spot with 6 games to play. It would seem that they've squandered any chance at a miraculous September comeback, but they aren't quite dead, at least not yet. This is how the Rangers can still make the 2025 MLB playoffs. The Rangers would have to pass at least 2 of the following 4 teams in order to secure a wildcard spot: the Red Sox, the Tigers, the Guardians, and the Astros. I have identified 4 paths which would allow this to happen, which I will now outline in order from least to most likely. Path number 1, the Boston-Houston collapse. For this path to work, the Rangers must win all 6 of their remaining games, and the Red Sox and Astros must lose all of theirs. This would give the Rangers a better record than the Astros, and tie them with the Red Sox, who they would hold the head-to-head tiebreaker against for the final spot. This path requires 18 games in a row to go exactly the Rangers' way, although that is less than the 22 consecutive games Cleveland won in 2018. Path number 2, the Detroit-Houston collapse. This path is almost identical to path number 1, substituting the Tigers for the Red Sox, but I've rated it as slightly more likely because the Tigers are currently in freefall, having lost 9 of their last 10, and will face contending teams in their last 2 series. Of course, the weakness with both of these paths is Houston needing to lose out versus the A's and the Angels. Path number 3, the Boston-Cleveland collapse. This is where things start to get interesting. Because the Rangers play Cleveland for their last 3 games, if we assume Texas to win out, the Guardians must then lose their last 3 games. Also, because Texas swept the season series versus Cleveland, the Rangers only need to tie them to clinch their spot. So for this path to work, we need the Rangers to go 6-0, Boston 0-6, and the Guardians to lose at least 2 games of their series against Detroit. That's only 12 games plus a series that has to go Texas's way, which we can roughly equate to winning 13 games in a row. Not horrible. A tiny caveat with this path is that if Cleveland loses out and Houston were to go exactly 1-6, it would trigger a Texas-Houston-Boston tiebreaker for the final 2 spots. The Red Sox would take the first spot on the strength of their head-to-head versus the other 2, but what happens after that is unclear to me. Texas has the second best head-to-head within that 3-team grouping, but if the final spot were decided based on just the Houston-Texas head-to-head, the Astros would advance. I believe the official MLB tiebreaker rules are unclear on this point, and don't specify what happens if 3 teams are tied for 2 wildcard spots. Finally, we come to path number 4, the Cleveland-Houston collapse. This path offers far more flexibility than any of the others, because Cleveland and Houston are only 5 games ahead of Texas, whereas Boston and Detroit are ahead by 6. If the Rangers win out, then Cleveland and Houston can both go 1-5, and the Rangers still advance in a 3-way tiebreak thanks to their 6-0 head-to-head versus Cleveland. Once you factor in Texas playing a series in Cleveland, all that's required is Rangers 6-0, Cleveland loses their series against Detroit, and Houston loses at least 5 out of 6. Unless Cleveland goes exactly 0-6 and Houston goes exactly 1-6. In that specific case, Texas loses out in the 2-team tiebreak with Houston. But there's more. The Rangers could even lose one of their games and still make it with this path. As long as the loss doesn't come against Cleveland, and Cleveland and Houston both go 0-6, oh yeah, and as long as Kansas City doesn't go 6-0, in that wild scenario, the Royals would leapfrog everyone and snatch the last spot.